your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
On the home of the Billikens, 21st ranked team in the country. We'll see where they go from here. Holding up for our viewers on X and on YouTube and on Facebook, the front page of the Post-Dispatch sports section here on this Sunday, and the Buzz streak go on. And when you flip it over, it says Billikens manhandled Dayton for their 15th straight win. There you go. It is impressive what they've done. And we're going to talk a lot about them today. We have Josh Schertz, the head coach of the Billikens, with us at 10:30. We have Jerry Palm, the bracketologist, formerly with CBS. Now he has gone on his own with his brackets, and he has his new bracket out. He's going to tell you what that looks like coming up here at 11:15 on Sports on a Sunday morning. Jerry has been great to the show for many, many years, and we look forward to that visit. We have Chaim Bloom on the show, as always. The Cardinals president of baseball operations always makes time for us at 11:30. Plenty to go through with him. 11:45, Bernie Miklasz. 10 o'clock hour, we're going to also be joined by the Blues CEO, Chris Zimmerman. They got beat last night, 5-3, by the Columbus Blue Jackets. I was next door at Union Station doing an event with John Jay, the Cardinals assistant coach and the Cardinals world champion from 2011. We were doing the SLU first pitch baseball dinner, and it was great. Thank you to all for inviting us to that event. We had a good time talking some ball with the players there. They got a lot of players on that SLU team, a lot of pitchers. And their interim coach, Miles Miller, is a gentleman, and I'm excited for him to have that opportunity. Very good people there at SLU, so thank you for having us there. We have, who else is on the show? Ed Wheatley, the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, is going to be with us here in about 8 minutes to reveal the class of 2026, and their ceremony is coming up this Wednesday at the Missouri Athletic Club. I'll be emceeing that. We're looking forward to that, so we'll tell you who made the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Just a chance to go through some headlines here at the start of the show, and then we'll dig in to some other stuff. KT, quick with the comment that the Cardinals still have no one who will hit 20 home runs this season. Happy February. KT, are you ready to go in on a milkshake with me on this? I mean, I'm ready. You just need to say the word. I will bet you a milkshake from Crown Candy. I prefer the chocolate banana malted, just so you're aware. He's in. Yeah. He's in. He thinks that no one on the Cardinals will hit 20 home runs this season. You think I should take him up on that? I do. Oh, yeah. I've got 4 options. Ivan Herrera, Alec Burleson, Nolan Gorman, and I'm going to throw a 4th one out there that people are going to be like, come on, man. No way. Jordan Walker. This is the year. If he's going to do it, this is the year he starts to hammer him. But he's got to do it this year. I'm going to do it. That's the order that I think is the most likely to the least likely in that top 4. And there could be others that emerge. I mean, there's potential there, I guess, but those are the 4 right now in my mind that have a chance to do that. No, just coffee. KT wants to know if I've been drinking this morning. No. But I'm good on that. He's good on it. We're going to bet a milkshake that somebody on the Cardinals hits 20 home runs. That seems like an easy win for me. Somebody's going to hit 20.
Somebody.
Right? It's probably going to be Herrera. And then, Burley stays healthy. He can hit 20. Gorman, I mean, they're talking about Gorman. Here we go. This could be the year for Gorman. I'll believe it when I see it. I like Gorman a lot, but I look forward to seeing what he can do in 2026. Come on, have some fun with this team. Let's do this. Let's go through some headlines. KT distracted me. I love comments, though. If you want to jump in, it's on YouTube, it's on X, on Facebook. Love KT. Love our listeners, and our comments are always great. Sports on a Sunday morning is loaded with guests, so I love any chance I have to interact. I like to do it. I thought that the biggest headline overnight into this morning was Carlos Alcaraz winning the Australian Open. And I know that we don't give that as much play as it deserves sometimes on local radio and on local sports, perhaps, TV, etc. But that's a big deal. He just completed the career slam at age 22. If you're curious if anyone has ever done that, the answer is no. In the history of tennis, no one that young has completed the career slam. He's 22, and he beat Novak Djokovic, who is not only the greatest player alive, but you could throw him into the argument who's the greatest of all time. He beat him today in 4 sets. So congratulations to Carlos Alcaraz winning the Australian Open today. I mentioned SLU. They dominated, as you well know by now, Dayton on Friday, 102-71. Josh Schertz is coming up to join us in just a little bit on the phone. Also, Mizzou got the win yesterday that they needed. They had to have it. They won over Mississippi State 84-79. The Tigers might be an inconsistent team, but you got to give them credit when they do what they have to do, and they won the game. I still question whether they can go on a streak. The problem with them is they're just not consistent enough to win these big games. If you look going back to when they got trounced by Illinois, 91-48, and I'll get to Illinois in just a minute. They have a huge game today. But after that, everyone questioned, how good is Dennis Gates in this team? And Dennis turns around. He beats the defending national champion, Florida. He goes to Kentucky and wins. As we find out, Kentucky's not all that great, but it's still a great win. You go to Rupp and get a win. Now you're 2-0 in the SEC. Let's go. But they go to Ole Miss and they lose by 7. They come back home. They beat Auburn. They go to LSU. They lose by 8. They lose at home to Georgia. They win that dramatic 2 buzzer beater victory over Oklahoma. They get trounced by Alabama. They just can't get any traction. So this win over Mississippi State is great, but it's only great if you can continue the momentum. And they play South Carolina next. Beatable team, but you got to go to South Carolina and play the Gamecocks, and then to Texas A&M, and they looked fantastic. Anybody catch their game yesterday? They went to Athens and whooped Georgia 92-77. They're on a tear right now. They hammered South Carolina. They hammered Mississippi State. Texas A&M is going to be tough. But look, one at a time. But that's where Mizzou's situation is. They're a bubble team. Had to win, got the win. Illinois looks amazingly dominant. The way that they beat Purdue is incredibly impressive. They are going to be very tough to handle when they get into the tournament. How far they go will depend on health, in my opinion. If they can stay healthy and keep this team together, they're plenty deep to make a run at the whole thing. But certainly to get to the Final Four. They play at Nebraska today. This will be a good test to see what they're made of, because Nebraska was the team that humbled them in Champaign and set them off on this incredible run. Remember, Nebraska beat them in Champaign, and I said, I think on this show, Missouri's in trouble. And they went to St. Louis and put it on Mizzou. And ever since then, they have been fantastic. I mean, they, in fact, have not lost. Have not lost since losing at home to Nebraska 83-80. Since then, they have mowed through everybody, and now here they are taking on Nebraska on the road with some revenge on their mind. 3 o'clock tip-off today for the Illini. They're 18-3. They have that one Big Ten loss at home to Nebraska. Now they try to play the 5th-ranked Cornhuskers. What's the line on that, you ask? 1.5. Nebraska -1.5. The favorite at home against the Illini. Elsewhere in college basketball yesterday, there were some winners. I'll go through them quickly, and then we're going to get to our guest after the break. These are local games yesterday of note. Missouri State won over Jacksonville State 74-67. Lindenwood beat Morehead State 79-78. SEMO over Eastern Illinois 77-59. SIUE wins at USI 58-46. And Southern Illinois, boy, they were up big on UIC. That UIC team is hot right now in the Missouri Valley Conference. They won in Carbondale 68-66. We'll take a break. We'll learn the Hall of Fame class for the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame for 2026. Ed Wheatley will be with us. Josh Schertz, Chris Zimmerman on the schedule for this hour. Sports on a Sunday morning from the STL Sports Studio.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Get bonus golf balls and Pro Tour tickets while they last. Presented by Post Dispatch. Shop Pro-Am Golf Super Sale. Enjoy the Sinclair Lincoln Long Putt, STL Charity Classic Simulator powered by Farmers Insurance, and the Orange Whip Trainer at the Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st in St. Charles. Thanks to Yingling Flight, St. Louis Battlehawks, MGI, Cutwater, Extreme Green, and BMW Championship. Special tickets at STLGolfExpo.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
Looking for a career change? The Gelman team with eXp Realty is hiring. Their unmatched blueprint to success, real support, and proven systems help agents take their business to the next level. Level up your future and your earning potential. Take the first step to see if you're a perfect fit at thegelmanteam.com.
You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/plan for 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
Let's ring in the new year by finally checking off something that actually matters. Your old videotapes and photos are fading more every year. VCRs are disappearing, and the clock is ticking to save your family's most important memories. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box to help you preserve your memories by converting all your videotapes, photos, and film reels into digital files. And this year, it's easier than ever.
Introducing our biggest kit yet, able to hold up to 80 videotapes or film reels or 2,000 photos. It's perfect for big collections. You can even send in old DVDs, memory cards, flip phones, or early generation iPhones.
Legacy Box is truly the easiest New Year's resolution you'll ever keep. Just fill your box and send it in. As the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos, all work is done in the U.S., and we're trusted by over 1 million families.
Start the new year right by rescuing the moments you haven't watched in years. Go to legacybox.com/radio for an incredible 55% off. That's legacybox.com/radio for 55% off.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. It is an absolute pleasure to have from the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, Ed Wheatley, with us on KMOX. You've heard Ed many times on KMOX, but I think this endeavor is one of the more important ones in St. Louis. And Ed, it's great to have you back. How are you?
It's always good to be here, buddy.
It's good to be with you. You know, in 1970, Jack Buck started the Sports Personality of the Year dinner, and he wanted to create an event that celebrated St. Louis. He wanted to celebrate the best of the best because he thought not only do we have great ones, but if you really look at it, around the nation, they're recognizable names. And I think the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, Greg Marisek, back in the day, tried to do that very thing. And you and Ron Jacober and many others have carried this on admirably into the next decade. And I admire what you do.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, we really truly are one of the best sports towns in America. Too often in headline news these days, St. Louis is not looked upon with the greatest esteem. But there's one thing that nobody can question is our sports history. You know, we are one of the best in the country. It's not just because we've won a bunch of World Series, Super Bowls, NBA championships, NHL Stanley Cups. It's because we have such a diverse history of amateur and professional baseball, and we don't want people to forget that. I mean, it's just for how many years where we were, you know, the bowling capital of the world, the North American hub of tennis, you know, the soccer hub of North America. Today we're the chess capital of the world. All these lists of things on, and we shouldn't forget them.
I agree with you. Let's introduce the class of 2026 for those that have not seen it. And it's going to be official at the Missouri Athletic Club on Wednesday night. I'm honored that you asked me to MC, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to kind of group these together in the interest of time, Ed, and start with the Cardinals. You have the DeWitt family. So you've already inducted Bill DeWitt Jr., Correct. The chairman, but now this is Bill Sr. and Bill III, and the Cardinals Rookie of the Year and All-Star pitcher Todd Worrell going into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame.
Absolutely great candidates. You know, the one thing we're celebrating the 150th year of Major League Baseball, created in 1876. This year across the nation and the Cardinals and everywhere. But, you know, the DeWitt family goes back to 1916 when Bill Sr. started working for the Cardinals started as selling soda at Sportsman's Park. And then he caught the eye of Branch Rickey and became a key cog as Branch Rickey's lieutenant with the Cardinals of the 20s and 30s, moved over to the Browns, led them to a World Series, owned them even. So this little boy who started selling soda soon owns the stadium and the team at Sportsman's Park, went on to do great things with the Reds, created the Big Red Machine, and then, you know, his son and grandson have led this tradition. So, you know, we're talking 110 years of the 150 years of baseball is a DeWitt family here in St. Louis.
It's exciting, and we're excited for him. We're excited for Todd Worrell and for the St. Louis Cardinals to be honored on that night. And from the Blues, you have a couple of Stanley Cup champions. And I say a couple because obviously Pat Maroon is a multiple Stanley Cup champion with the Blues and the Lightning. But I consider Layla Anderson a Stanley Cup champion for what she did to inspire that team, Ed.
Well, I agree. You know, the big rig, Pat, you know, he's a hometown boy as well. I mean, you know, he just didn't play here. You know, he's from here. And that's something that makes it special. And Layla, you know, and the theme Gloria. I mean, it's one of those moments. This Hall of Fame is not just about what an athlete does or an owner does. This is moments created. And here we have Layla. And the moment, you know, this team went from one of the worst to winning the Stanley Cup in the second half of that season. Who was the backbone of the focus? Layla. And you're right. She's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. In the world of college basketball, our very own Bob Ramsey, the voice of the Billikens, is going into the Hall. There's some others, too. Tina Hutchinson, a high school and college basketball superstar, not to mention UMSL's all-time winningest coach, Bob Sunvold, all going into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Yeah, and I mean, that is just a great, you know, Bob, 40 years. What was it? Someone said the other day, he has seen more Billiken games than anybody because he's been there covering him for 40 years. And, you know, we went down to our high school coach and Dan Rolfs. 14 state championships up there in Cornerwood. I mean, that is just amazing. And, you know, his story of overcoming, you can say dead because he kind of flatlined a little bit after, 2 years ago in the state championship and, you know, came back, was able to go through all that and put in Cornerwood back on the map once more.
it's just a great, great, great story.
It's incredible. They are an absolute machine. I believe we're going to have Dan on the Gas House Gang this week, so we're looking forward to that to further promote the dinner. Mike Jones. The Rams don't win the Super Bowl without Mike Jones. He made the tackle that preserved the win at the 1 yard line, Ed.
Well, I mean, probably a little less than 1 yard line, but we have a Super Bowl title because of Mike and his reactions and his holding back the force of the receiver, trying to push all the way to, and you can't say that it is a moment, like we talked about Layla, a moment. Mike Jones, he was a good football player down at Mizzou, and he played for the Rams. But the tackle, all you have to do is say the tackle. Mike Jones comes to your mind immediately.
Yeah, there's some things in St. Louis, all you need to say, go crazy, folks, the tackle, Game 6. People know what those things are, and Mike Jones is a part of St. Louis sports. You can't have a St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame without Mike Jones. There's no doubt about that. And then a couple of local names that have done great things, Al Joyner and Devin Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, Al Joyner, Jackie's brother, we know everything Jackie Joyner did, one of the greatest female athletes ever in the world. But her brother was right there up with her in the 84 the 84 Olympics. He took the triple jump, brought back gold to the city, East St. Louis once more between him and his sister. But so, I mean, that's what we try to do when we lay this out is find these people that may be forgotten, they're overlooked, and that's what we want this Hall of Fame to be, because that's what makes St. Louis such a great sports town, is all this history.
I love that. And the St. Louis Hummers professional softball team, World Series participants for 3 years from 77 to 79, Ed.
Yeah, people forget out there in Valley Park there was this female fast pitch professional softball league, and we had one of the best. The one thing they had trouble was overcoming Joan Joyce in Connecticut, who was the famed pitcher, but they were there in the World Series. It's this group of girls that, again, it's one of those moments in times. And, I've got a lot of things that I've written before in the past about the Hummers. People flocked to it. The Cardinals weren't doing very good in those years of the 70s that you mentioned, and these became the darlings of St. Louis sports when you just go through the Post-Dispatch and page by page and you hear all this, how much they meant to people. But it was also showing young girl athletes. Look at these athletes, because you could go see them in person. So it was something special to add that they were an inspiration to a growing class of female athletes.
It's fantastic. It's the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame Enshrinement Dinner 2026. That's the class, and the dinner will be held this Wednesday night. Do you still have tickets available at the MAC, Ed?
We have a few. We're approaching a sellout again. If you want to buy tickets, you can go online to STLS Hall of Fame, STLS HOF, St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, and it'll take you right to tickets.
Now, you're not promising autographs, of course, but I'll bet you if you bring a pen, you can snag one.
These people, they're the kind that they know what it really means.
Yeah.
They're true heroes of St. Louis.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I really look forward to it. Again, STLS, St. Louis Sports, STLSHOF.com to grab tickets to this event on Wednesday night at the MAC downtown. Ed Wheatley, thank you very much for revealing the class.
Thank you, Tom, and get in your tickets quick because we are almost at capacity.
All right, let's do it. I will see you there that night. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, at the rate he's going, maybe someday he's in the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. Josh Schertz, head coach of the Billikens, is just getting started, but everybody's talking about SLU, that's for sure. The coach joins us next on KMOX.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. There's never a good time for your heating system to stop working. If yours does, no matter what time or day, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency HVAC service. Contact our award-winning team for 5-star heating service and stay in your comfort zone. For For heating and 24/7 emergency service, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Soulard is going to the dogs. Make sure to bring your four-legged friend to the streets of Soulard for the 33rd annual Purina Pet Parade, the world's largest costume pet parade. It all starts at 12th and Allen, Sunday, February 8th at 1 p.m. And KMOX's own Dave Glover will be leading the pack as the parade's Grand Marshal. Sign up today to march in the parade with your dog. The event supports Open Door Animal Sanctuary. For more details, PurinaPetParade.com. Don't miss this annual St. Louis Mardi Gras tradition. Sponsored by Purina. KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Discover how you can make unforgettable memories with a home equity line of credit from Royal Banks of Missouri. Whether you're dreaming of a winter family getaway, planning your next home renovation project, or considering an investment in your education goals, a home equity line of credit is a flexible and convenient option to fund life's most memorable moments on your schedule. Our local bankers are here to help you achieve your short and long-term financial goals. Call 314-212-1500. That's 314-212-1500. Visit us online at royalbanksofmo.com or stop by a Royal Banks location near you for more details on how you can tap into your home's equity and get the most out of its current value. Investing in our communities, one client at a time. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Our Billiken Report is sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri, and it is always a pleasure to have the head coach of the Billikens, Josh Schertz, on the show. Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, Tom?
Doing well. Practice today. The guys have a good day off yesterday?
Yeah, seemed like it. I think everybody was able to recover, enjoy, what they did on Friday, and now we circle back and learn from the game and get ready today for a really good Davidson team. But it was a great time. Friday obviously special night, and to have a chance to let them fully enjoy that on Saturday was pretty cool.
I'll bet. And just the whole experience, just reliving Friday, and you're of course focused on Davidson, but you can allow yourself to appreciate what you all were able to accomplish. Actually, two things last week, because you showed me something on Tuesday. That win over GW showed me a lot about this team. I had yet to see this team deal with something like that. And let's start there. You came back, roared back, actually, from a 15-point deficit, and actually it reached 13 again in the second half and found a way.
Yeah, no, those are, we talk a lot about, hurdles you got to clear to become a great team. And, those are things that are going to happen over the course of a long season. You're going to get tested in so many different ways. Can you play great competition? Can you handle that? Can you go on the road in hostile environments and play against high-level teams? Do you have the resilience when you get punched in the mouth to, get yourself back up and stand together and respond to those type of things? And as you said, we really, maybe as much as any season I've been a part of, haven't had that happen, I think until George Washington, which is just a crazy stat. I don't think we trailed all season by double digits at any game, at any point, at any time. And, most of the games we led from, tip to buzzer. And, so it was something we knew we were going to have to deal with. At certain points, you have to, if you're going to be a really good team, have that, that iron will to be able to withstand a barrage and credit GW. They came out really, through the first punch. I thought they, play the game on their own terms. We get down 15, we cut it to 10 at half. It goes back to 13 in the second half. And, it was, there were some great lessons in there for our guys, just about how long a game is. When you think about that game, you're down 15, then you're up 7, then you're back down again, and then you finish with a win. So it just shows, inside of a game that calm endurance you need when you're up or down, because the key is just to keep competing inside the game. And, on a night like, that, where maybe, you don't have your fastball, you're playing a really good team, you can hang around and find a way at the end.
Something else I noticed at the end of that game, Omari McCautry and Deion Brown are shooting, and that doesn't always happen. You don't see that a lot, but they felt some accountability, didn't they? That they had to give you a little bit more. That's how I took that. They wanted to get out there and get some extra work.
Yeah, they came out, were shooting, and I think, that's always a good sign, that guys are focused on, getting better, because that's at the end of the day, what really matters. The other stuff is great. Outcomes are great. You want outcomes, but outcomes, are downstream of your process, right? And so, you can't get outcomes without great process. And the whole key is how do you get better? And guys do. I think the group feels, I said this before, we got a really ambitious group. I think they have, high standards for what they want to do individually and what they want the group to do collectively. And when you got guys who are ambitious and you got guys that have high standards for themselves, when you got guys that are focused on, how they can get better. And that's the thing with our team. I still feel like, you're always striving. There's a level out there that we could still get to. And I think maybe 2 or 3 levels this team can get to. And part of that is, having individual guys play more consistently to their highest level. And it was great to see with Amari, Deion, and, there's a lot of stuff, like I said, invisible stuff that I see or that sometimes I don't even see that, guys are doing to give themselves a chance to play the way they're playing.
Josh Schertz is with us, and Friday arrives, and it was some scene. I mean, you played at an elite level, and the crowd was at an elite level. I wanted to know, when you're in that locker room, those final moments, and you're coming through the tunnel, can you hear them? I mean, can you hear them from in there? And has the buzz reached the insides of Chaffetz Arena?
Yeah, no question. I actually, for Dayton, I could hear them. I always go in the one of the back, they call, I think, star rooms, what they call them, where they have the concerts and stuff. So I usually, my game day routine, we do our shoot around. I go get a lift in with our strength coach, and then I come back to the star room to kind of, put together notes and go through stuff. And then usually I take a nap, but I couldn't nap for the Dayton game because it was so loud in the arena. In terms of the crowd, you could hear the students, and that was amazing. To have that, I think. Our guys were really ready to play, but the crowd was certainly a huge factor, and they're just, where they are, the level of engagement, the energy. And I thought it was huge. It was huge on Friday, and really I thought it willed us on Tuesday. Even though the crowd wasn't a sellout, we had 7,500 on Tuesday. I thought the energy in that place, when we were down maybe 6 or something, we were kind of chipping away at it. Their energy was fantastic, and that help propel us. And ultimately, for us to get where we want to get to, we've got to make Chaffetz a great home court environment. And as we've talked about many times, that's 2 things, needed to create a great home court environment. You got to have, really good players, because ultimately if your team stinks, no one, that's not going to work. And then you got to have energy and atmosphere and environment inside of the building. And, I thought our fans really gave us that, and they have here, certainly since we've been back in January, and I even thought towards, as conference play started there late December.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that. That is a proactive crowd. There are proactive crowds and there are reactive crowds. SLU's a proactive crowd. It's like as if they're saying, look, we know this is coming. We're just going to will you right now and get you moving now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they know basketball, and it's right. It's a lot of times you need the energy more when you're taking shots, and obviously it's great when you're making a run and they're roaring, but sometimes when you're getting punched in the mouth, you need it. And I think, what was cool about Tuesday was we weren't back ahead yet. We were down 6, but they could sense that this was a pivotal point, and they just, that whole 15-0 run, that took us, I think we're down, whatever it was, whatever it was, but we were down, we went on a 15-0 run to go up 7, we're down 8, go up 7, they go 63-55, we go up 70-63. they were in the midst of all that, and it was made it hard for GW to communicate. It was a real home court advantage Tuesday, a real home court advantage Friday, and it's been, like I said, really in A10 play, it's been a real home court advantage. It's great to see the community kind of wrap their arms around these guys, because we've thought about it from the beginning. We have really talented guys, but I think we also have guys that people should want to cheer for. They're the kind of human beings that you would want to cheer for because the quality of person they are, the quality of young men they are, the character that these guys have. It's not a group where, man, they're successful, but these are the kind of guys. This is really a group as a fan base. You would want your kids to be around. It's a group you really should wrap your arms around. So it's special to see that occurring.
And then everybody just seemed like they went off against Dayton. It was just a remarkable performance. Trey's hitting from everywhere on the floor. We already talked about Amari and Dion. They come back and have solid games. We know Robbie is going to attract a lot of attention, and he's such a unique player. And off the bench, you got Sharma, and you got Otieno, and you have Thames, and you have all these players. And then Quentin Jones, like you sometimes realize Quentin Jones is a scorer. He's a facilitator. He's a rebounder. He's kind of everything, and he had some game for you against Dayton.
Yeah, I thought, I said it in the post game. I thought that was probably his best game as a Billiken. He's obviously developed so much, and part of this, is you're asking guys when you come together to do things that a lot of times they haven't ever done, Quentin's played, two different places prior to here. Both places, he was very much a scorer and a guy that wasn't a huge playmaker or facilitator. He was capable of doing it, wasn't what he did. And defensive end, like with Trey Green, was a little hit or miss. And you're asking these guys to commit to these different things. And Paul Otieno's doing stuff he's never done. And so there's this growth curve, and you just see it with Q. How much he's grown, and it's not linear, that's not the way it works, but, he's got a chance to be as dominant a two-way player as there is. The defensive end to be 6'5" with 6'10" wingspan. He's got great speed and burst. He can finish around the rim. He makes threes. He's a good passer. He's starting to understand rim decisions better. He's starting to understand how to leverage himself and get himself in the seams and kind of diversify his playmaking and making the game a little simpler for himself and for his teammates. And I thought he was awesome, both ends. He's a guy, like I said, he's a guy that can really touch the game in a lot of ways because he's a terrific defender. He's got the tools to be that consistent. He can really rebound the ball. He's great in transition. He can shoot threes. He gets the ball downhill. He's got the ability to spray it out and see guys. And, he can offensive rebound. There's just, he's got a great versatility to how he can impact winning, and he's starting to really recognize all the different ways outside of just scoring that he can put his fingerprints on winning for this team.
And then afterwards, Friday night, you head out to Humphreys. I think you put a lot of smiles on a lot of faces in Midtown that night.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was just we went. It was kind of a spur of the moment idea, but in the locker room with the coaches, I was like, we need to do something for the for the students. They were so good. They created such a great atmosphere, and they were awesome against GW as well. So it was such a big week for us. And it's a team, and I want to do something to reward them. So I didn't necessarily know I knew I was going to go over and buy a round. I didn't know I was going to be bartending. Usually, but I managed to do both. So I did some bartending, and I spent about an hour over there, with the fans, and it was great just to see everybody, see how excited they are about, SLU basketball, and again, it's always about. When you're at a place, it's you need to connect the program, the community, and the community to the program, and you do that by being accessible. You do that by treating people the right way. You do it by recruiting guys that people can really rally around and feel good about cheering for, and that's part of what when we came here, we wanted to do was in our it wasn't that way before, but we wanted to connect. Our program to the community, and that's a two-way street, and certainly you're seeing the bonds being built.
Last thing, and Josh Schertz has been with us, and we really appreciate it. You got Davidson coming on Tuesday, and as well as I do that now everybody's talking about SLU. The nation can't get enough of SLU. They're going to talk about your team. They're going to talk about you, and it'll be, I guess, your job and your staff's to calm that outside noise as much as possible and concentrate on this Davidson team.
Yeah, it's a part of seasons. Seasons are noisy, regardless. And if you're bad, they're noisy because you're getting a lot of criticism. If you're good, they're noisy because you're getting a lot of praise. And that's just a part of the deal. And it goes back to, we always talk about, internal standards over external conversation, right? Our internal standards, the stuff that we talk about, I think there's a big difference in having a winning culture and a culture where you can win. I've said that before, winning culture, you're a weather vane for results. You're up and down based on how you're doing, and everything is dependent on winning and losing. And where you have a culture where you can win, you got programmatical, principles, values, standards, bedrocks that hopefully can keep you grounded, through the successes and failures, of a season, because you experience both. You experience adversity, you experience big highs, you experience lows, and hopefully for us, we have a culture where you can win, and we'll lean into those principles, lean into those values. We talk a lot about circumstances in a season are always changing. Narratives and storylines are always changing, but the solutions never change, and the standards should never change. And so we'll lean into those things, and hopefully, we know how good Davidson is. We know the environment that we'll be stepping into. We understand the privilege it is to get everybody's best shot and to have to raise our level each and every night to meet the challenges ahead. As I told our guys, that's an accelerant for our own improvement. That's going to make us a better team because we're going to have to find our best punch every night to match this. So we're excited about it. Should be a great game, national TV, great opportunity for our guys. We reset to 0 today and get to work.
Coach, I know I kept you a little longer than usual. I've got Coach Tillett on the Coaches Show tomorrow. We know you'll be traveling, so we wanted to make sure we got everything in there. And not every day you have a night like you had on Friday night. That was pretty fun. Congratulations and good luck against Davidson.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
All right, see you soon. Josh Schertz, sponsored by Royal Banks of Missouri. Great to visit with him. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Blues CEO Chris Zimmerman. You're listening to Sports on a Sunday Morning from the STL Sports Studio.
St. Louis has a voice.
MOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
Another home run! 4 in a row for Newfield.
From moment to memory.
President George Bush is on his way to St. Louis right now.
Among those voices, Ron Jacober.
Welcome back to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Buy big brands with Pro-Am Golf, test your skills, and win prizes while they last. VIP tickets at STLGolfExpo.com.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Dierbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin. Trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When you're learning something new, experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
When it comes to lighting, Graybar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Graybar mode. Yep, Graybar does that.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Hypnosis can help. Join the over 500,000 people who have attended Mark Patrick Hypnosis with great weight loss results. Mark Patrick Hypnosis will be in St. Louis on Saturday, March 7th.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing.
I don't have any cravings.
You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about dessert.
Only $59.99. Lose all the weight you want. 100% guaranteed. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Registration, 10:30 a.m. Attend this program and find out how the power of hypnosis can help you achieve your weight loss goals. There's limited seating, so get there early. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com.
Now, back to the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back. Sports on a Sunday morning, indeed, from the Stifel Sports Studio. And we're joined by Blues CEO Chris Zimmerman. Appreciate you taking a few minutes this morning. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing good, Tom. Doing good.
It's good to visit with you. I know the Olympics are coming up. Dad's week for the Blues. Just your quick thoughts on how things have transpired here. I know another tough one yesterday. I mean, you came through against Florida, and yesterday a 5-3 loss to Columbus. It's just been that kind of season. You've not been able to gain that consistency.
Yeah, it's been challenging. I mean, obviously, we certainly came into the season with higher expectations, and I know the players did, the coaching staff did, and I guess we really haven't seen this kind of challenge, certainly in the time that I've been here over the last 11 years. I would say this has been the most frustrating year because of expectations, and so I think a lot of it now, we continue to look to the bright spots, to the young guys who are developing, and just trying to bring this team along and move us forward.
And now, as you finish out this week, you will take a break, but some players are going to go to the Olympics, and you're going to go too, aren't you, Chris, to Milano Cortina?
I am going to be over there for part of the time, Tom. It's actually part of our honeymoon, so
okay, awesome.
Not a bad way. We'll get over to Rome first, and then into Milan for a few days, and we're looking forward to it.
Not that you need any tips from me, but I can give you some Rome tips if you need them.
We're taking them from everyone, so
okay.
Please weigh in.
I'll give you a few. I had a chance to get over there, Angie and I and the girls. We have some great things to be proud of here. First of all, you've got 5 Blues players competing for 4 different countries at the Olympics, and you get to see the results of the U.S. Figure Skating Championships right in front of you at the Olympics. We got to witness some greatness here at Enterprise Center.
Yeah, the Figure Skating Championships were fantastic. I mean, this may be one of the best U.S. figure skating teams maybe ever. We'll see. But some great performances, and the city stepped up. The skating community embraced it. Non-skating fans embraced the event. It was fantastic to have it back here after, I believe it was a 20-year absence. Our hope is that the response was so good and the reception and the feedback from the skaters that we can get it back soon. And so we'll be looking at working to get it back, hopefully as soon as 2030.
Wow, that's awesome. And then, of course, March, here we go. You got the ACHA National Championships for 10 days at Centene Community Ice Center, and basketball fans will start to look at each other and say, hold on now. The NCAA tournament's coming here. If that missed anybody's inbox, it shouldn't have. That is happening, the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament. What kind of buzz are you hearing about that?
Well, it's great to have it back, obviously, and I think it's in a year where SLU basketball is clearly back. That would be a gift to have SLU playing here. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. NCAA basketball is, those early rounds upset City, and we're looking forward to being part of that again.
Yeah, it'll be fun, and I know that Illinois fans are hoping to squeeze in there as well. Jerry Palm, who I have on coming up at 11:15, I will tell people as a tease, he does have Illinois going to St. Louis in his bracket. It's February 1st. It's time to start looking at this bracketology. Congratulations on this. I know that the Stadium Series is today. I've been texting with Pat Maroon and congratulating him on being a St. Louis Sports Hall of Famer. We're going to try to get him on, but I told him we're going to wait until all of this craziness is over in Tampa, because I know he's a busy man.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, Winter Classic down in Miami, and now the Stadium Series in Tampa. That's quite a back-to-back set of games that the league has put on. But the outdoor games are still fantastic. I think they're great for our game. They're great for the communities that get to host them, and that's a big deal. And then we'll go to the Olympics, and coming out of the Four Nations Cup last year, and the way those games went, the level of competition, the level of play really sets up for fantastic Olympic Games.
It's great to visit with you. All the best on your trip to Italy, and thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tom. Have a good day.
You too. Blues CEO Chris Zimmerman on KMOX. We'll take a quick break for the news. When we come back, we'll take a little poke around what St. Louis City SC has done, refresh some of your news headlines of the day. Jerry Palm, Chaim Bloom, Bernie Miklasz in the 11 o'clock hour on KMOX.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new home, and the Reserve at Wildwood is where you want to be. Park-like setting with front porches on every home, connected trails for exploring, walk to Main Street and Wildwood Town Center, top-rated Rockwood schools, and legendary McKelvey quality you can count on, featuring James Hardy siding. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and learn what makes the Reserve so special. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Wendy Gillette. No investigations are underway related to the release of 3 million Epstein documents on Friday. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on CNN.
The victims want to be made whole, and so we want that. The Attorney General wants that more than anything, but that doesn't mean we can just create evidence or that we can just kind of come up with a case that isn't there.
Democratic lawmakers say they want access to all of the files not yet released, as well as unredacted copies of those that have been made public. 5-year-old Liam Canyejo Ramos and his father are back in Minnesota after they were released from ICE custody in Texas. A lawyer familiar with the case tells CBS News. A court order mandated their release yesterday. Liam was returning from school with his father when they were detained by federal agents over a week ago. As tens of thousands take part in protests against ICE this weekend, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called for changes to federal immigration enforcement.
Body cameras should be mandatory. Masks should come off. Judicial warrants should absolutely be required, consistent with the Constitution in our view, before DHS agents or ICE agents are breaking into the homes of the American people or ripping people out of their cars.
He spoke on ABC. House Speaker Mike Johnson said on Fox, funding needs to flow to ICE as the government entered a partial shutdown.
We have to allow ICE to do its job. We have to allow Border Patrol to do its job, and we're going to make sure they have the funding to do that.
The Senate agreed to a bipartisan funding deal, but the House still has to approve it. A winter storm is bringing deep snow to parts of the southeast. Meteorologist Bob Oravec is with the National Weather Service.
Foot-plus snows from the South Carolina, North Carolina coastal border northeastward towards Wilmington, and another area of foot-plus snows from about Charlotte northeastward to Greensboro. And in between, there has a little less snow near Raleigh, 3 to 5 inches, but all across the state, on average, anywhere from 4 to 12 plus inches.
A big win in the tennis world. Carlos Alcaraz has won the Australian Open and completed the career Grand Slam. He played before fellow tennis great Rafael Nadal.
It's a little bit weird, seeing Rafa, in the stands. He's the first time professional. I know you were watching me when I was like 15, 14 years old, so it's been a long time. But it's such an honor playing in front of you.
He defeated Novak Djokovic in 4 sets, 2-6, 6-2, 6-3, 7-5. He is the 9th player to complete a tennis Grand Slam. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. At 11:03, it's mostly cloudy and 18 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning, I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story, St. Louis police are investigating another death at the city jail. 32-year-old Demetria McDial was found unresponsive in her cell yesterday afternoon. Medics tried to revive her, and she was taken to the hospital, but she was pronounced dead there after 6 p.m. Relatives told Fox 2 McDial had complained about chest pains. Nearly 24 inmates have died at the City Justice Center since 2020. Mayor Spencer says her office shares the community's concerns over lives lost at the jail, and she supports a full investigation into McDial's death. Missouri's top Republican leaders are rallying behind a new lawsuit to ban illegal immigrants from being counted in the census.
Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway sued the U.S. Department of Commerce Friday, demanding a recount of the 2020 numbers to remove illegal aliens from the total. She argues the current policy costs Missouri a seat in Congress and violates the Constitution. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins calls the lawsuit a no-brainer, saying on X, only U.S. citizens should count in the census. Governor Mike Kehoe also praised the move, saying only citizens hold a fundamental right to representation. The Missouri Freedom Caucus went even further on X, accusing Democrats of using open borders to prop up states that have been, quote, bleeding population, close quote. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Missouri Treasurer Vivek Malik is turning to the private sector to boost funding for school choice. The Missouri Scholars Program, which provides private school scholarships, saw a 140% increase in applications in a year. Malik plans to use a bully pulpit strategy to solicit corporate donations in exchange for tax credits.
My job as treasurer will be to go to these corporate houses and ask and educate them about this great program that we have in the state so that we can have more and more donations to supplement what we have received so far.
Malik requested $50 million to keep up with demand, but the governor's budget currently proposes only a $10 million increase.
KMOX AccuWeather this afternoon, a cold one. We'll see clouds and flurries, even a period of light snow into the evening, but little accumulation, high 30. Clouds tonight, low 22. Tomorrow, some sunshine, back 38. Tuesday, a little snow to start the day, especially south and east, otherwise cloudy, high 34. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather's Bill Degger on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Thank you, Bill. Right now it's 18 in St. Peter's, in Florissant, and downtown at the Arch. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. Good hour last hour with Ed Wheatley, Josh Schertz, Chris Zimmerman. Appreciate them very much for being with us. This hour, Jerry Palm, Chaim Bloom, Bernie Miklasz. This is usually our football segment. We are going to talk some football. St. Louis City SC football, as a matter of fact. And we'll get you caught up with what has been going on with them, and then we'll have Jerry Palm joining us here at 11:15 to reveal his latest bracketology for college basketball. But City really has been busy lately. They, of course, the biggest news was that Klaus left to go to the LA Galaxy. They made that maneuver, and so they're going to be looking for a goal scorer for the time being. They did acquire Conrad Vollum on a permanent transfer. He was, I thought, very impressive for them. Very intelligent, tough player. I really liked him playing last year for City. They also acquire the Brazilian defender, Rafael Santos, as they continue to get their roster shaped. Started his MLS career with Orlando City. They signed Dante Pulvera on a permanent transfer from Aberdeen FC, the Scottish Premiership. He's signed through the 27-28 season with a club option for 28-29. So they're able to bring him in. He is a former Herman Trophy winner. He won that for Georgetown in 2021. So that's really nice. City has a Herman Trophy winner, which is based here in St. Louis, the top award in college soccer. They also signed Mamadou Mbake Fall on a transfer from Spanish and global football giant FC Barcelona. He is going to wear, I understand, a kit with Mbake on the back of his jersey there. So he's made 130 professional appearances, 35 in MLS. Do you notice a trend here? What Corey Ray has done, he's bringing in players who have MLS experience. And I think that is very important to him. This is something that he's seen in the past that is very successful, bringing in players who are familiar with American soccer and how things are done here. So then you can teach those who come in. You have a core of people who can sort of be the guide as to how things get done in this league and how this game is played. They're all different. And so I think that's something important to watch. Also, we're keeping an eye on what the team has been doing down in Florida. This is the head coach, Yohan DeMay.
Yeah, guys worked really hard the past 10 days in IMG. Very happy with the work, very happy with the mentality. Guys have been very open-minded, getting uncomfortable, pushing themselves. So that's a big positive. I think we got a lot of work done physically, but at the same time also tactically. So I'm happy about the direction we're heading. The idea again is to see everyone and to have a full review of the roster. There is a lot of draftee as well, kids from the second team. So the idea is really to evaluate everyone, see a little bit everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and have a full assessment before coming back and attacking the second part of preseason. So I'm quite happy about that. I think guys have put in a good shift. Today was interesting from that point of view. Again, like two groups, one group playing the first half, one group playing the second half, each with their challenges, each with also their successes. So it's been good for us as a staff to evaluate and prepare the next part of the camps.
Is that your overall approach to preseason? Make sure you have a good look at everybody, or is there, what's some of the other key things you want to work on?
Yeah, so as you know, like we're new into this, so like with a new staff, with some new players, some new additions coming in, it's about getting to know each other, like primarily, and then of course like there is a fitness base to develop like during those weeks of preseason, and the most important for me is to get across like the tactical message that we want to deliver to the players. So again, with new ideas coming, with like a fresh playing style. There is a lot to talk about, there's a lot to work on, and I think during preseason it's always interesting. You've got that first like 10, 12 days where everything is new, and then slowly you can see how quickly the players like embrace it and get on board. And now as we approach of like the second part of preseason and the start of the season, it's about like competition, being more and more competitive, starting to create more association amongst the players, develop more relationship like between some guys, and be ready for the start.
And the start is coming. February 21st is when they start the season at Energizer Park. The team is in town, and they're going to be out of town starting on Tuesday. They're going to go back out and head to Palm Springs, California for their second training camp. They're going to play 4 friendlies over a 12-day period. A training session in St. Louis tomorrow. We will be there. Our producer here, Drew Young, will be shooting video. Jen Cease will be over there asking questions as part of that media session, so we'll make sure we give you all the latest coverage here. Of course, the games are part of our family in Odyssey, a Y98 FM. KMOX carries a lot of our City SC programming, so we will be all over it this year, and the season's coming fast. I mean, it's February 1st. The first Cardinals game in spring training will be that day as well. So we're 20 days away from going full throttle over here. We're not just Billikens. We're going to have City. We'll have the Cardinals. Everybody's going all at once. So appreciate that right there. And tomorrow we expect to hear more from Yoann Demey, Conrad Vollum, and Dante Polvera speaking to the media in that session tomorrow. So we'll bring you the very latest on that. When we come back, we will hear from Jerry Palm, who is one of the premier bracketologists in America. The former CBS talent is taking things in-house and taking them to KMOX for this special appearance at 11:15. We want to ask him about SLU. Where are they in his bracket? Where's Illinois? And for that matter, what does he think about Mizzou and others? A complete breakdown. Plus, who's going to play in St. Louis first and second round? Jerry may have an idea. In fact, he's already jotted down a few pretty big names, I would say. Back in a moment on KMOX.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I was ordering food from our usual place for the big meeting. My VP said, "Please, God, no."
For workplaces suffering with corporate catering deficiency, every day's a struggle.
The food was always meh and over budget. Before Easy Cater, I thought that was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat CCD with a huge variety of restaurants, help meet dietary needs, and stay on budget. Use daily. One platform lets you save time and thrive. Ask your web browser about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo, January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Get bonus golf balls and Pro Tour tickets while they last. Presented by Post Dispatch. Shop with Pro-Am Golf. Play Sinclair Lincoln's Long Putt powered by Evolve Putters. The Back 9 Crestwood Simulator. The Battlehawks Chip Shot. And sip drinks by Skimmers, Tito's, and Four Hands Cannabis at the Golf Expo, January 30th through February 1st in St. Charles. Thanks to Gateway Golf Cars, Booth Creek Wagyu, and Amateur Players Tour. Special tickets at STLGolfExpo.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Great to be with you, and great to be with my friend Jerry Palm. You can read his latest bracketology at palmbrackets.com. His projected brackets have been popular for many years. Palmbrackets.com. How are you, Jerry?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. What do you think? The latest buzz around here is that St. Louis University basketball is a wagon, as the kids like to say. They are on fire right now at 21-1. How do you view them?
Yeah, they're having a great season. I would be concerned about them if they have to be an at-large team, in part because that means at least one more loss. But their strength of schedule is in the mid-200s, and they're the only team in the at-large part of the bracket that I put together that's outside the top 100 in strength of schedule. So they have a couple quad one wins. VCU on the road and Santa Clara are quad one wins. I don't know that they have any other opportunities. I guess at George Mason would be. And then, of course, the conference tournament might provide some. But I just think the margin for error in terms of being an at-large team is pretty small because of the schedule that they have played and the schedule they have left.
Right, so you're saying that everything looks great right now, and boy, did they receive some buzz on Friday night. I mean, everybody flipped quickly, like, I don't see how they're not an at-large team, like immediately got pushed into that grouping. What you're saying is pump the brakes a little bit, because if they were to lose a game that they shouldn't, that could hurt them?
Yeah, and that's almost all of them that are left are games that they shouldn't. At George Mason is not an easy game. Maybe at Rhode Island. VCU is always good. And that's actually their best win, was the win at VCU, and Santa Clara also. It doesn't take much because of the games that they have left for one negative thing to be a significantly negative thing.
If they had beaten Stanford, if not for that crazy bounce and crazy shot, would that have made a big difference for them?
It does make a difference because that's a good team. That's one of the top 5 teams on their schedule. So, yeah, it makes a difference. It would have provided something of a cushion, but it didn't happen. Basketball's weird sometimes, And Stanford is not a tournament team yet, but they could be one of those teams that has a chance to crawl their way in.
They are the Billikens taking on Davidson on Tuesday, trying to get a road win. And then, as you mentioned, if they run through the regular season, and they do have a game at George Mason to wrap it up, they will be 30-1. Still, winning the A-10 tournament is their goal anyway. They burn through that. They get themselves an automatic bid. It doesn't matter. But
right. And maybe a pretty decent seed. Maybe something you can do something with.
Gotcha. Jerry Palm is with us. What about Illinois? Big game for them today. Number 9 team in the country at number 5 Nebraska, a team that got them earlier this year, and that's the last time they lost a Big Ten game.
Yeah, that was actually the game that really got everyone's attention regarding Nebraska, because they played a pretty poor non-conference schedule, so they were putting up a lot of wins. But it's like, well, okay, let's wait and see if they actually beat somebody. Well, then they go into Illinois and win, and that is certainly something. Big win for Nebraska. That team's for real. The game at Michigan was one of the best games of the season. They came up on the short end of it. Illinois is going to have their hands full. I don't know if Nebraska's healthy. They were not when they played at Michigan. They were missing their sixth man and one of their starters. So I don't know if they're going to be full strength, but obviously you can play whatever with whoever you have, and Nebraska finds ways to win full strength or otherwise. So big game though for Illinois and for Nebraska in terms of trying to fight your way up the bracket in Illinois' case. And I've got Nebraska as the number 1 seed, but that's a pretty competitive part of the bracket. So a loss would probably knock Nebraska down the line.
Yeah, I see that. And you also have at the moment Illinois as a 3 seed, but playing in St. Louis. That would be something.
Yeah, that's it works out for them. It may not. They could be a 3 seed and sent pretty much anywhere, depending on what's available to them. But in this case, St. Louis had a spot when I was putting them in the bracket, and that's an easy call for Illinois.
You have Iowa State against UT Arlington, Clemson, Ohio State, also in St. Louis, along with Illinois, Portland State in the 3-14, and UCF against the winner of New Mexico and San Diego State playing at St. Louis. This is Jerry Palm, palmbrackets.com. If you want to follow along, his latest one came out on Friday, and I'm sure he's got an update coming soon. Arizona. Monday, there you go. Arizona's undefeated 1 seed, along with Duke, Michigan, and as he mentioned, Nebraska. What do you think about Missouri? I mean, a lot of people felt like they had to win that game against Mississippi State. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think they do. Mizzou is just one of those teams that I can't quite get on my board yet, but they're not off my radar. It's just not quite getting. I mean, the good wins are good wins. You win at Kentucky, that's a good win. It's just their overall schedule's not great for a major conference team, and they're 3-7 against the best teams they've played. That's squad 1 and 2 games, and they haven't lost to anyone else, so that's good. But they need to string some together, so it beat Mississippi State. That's nice. You beat them at home. You got to win your home games, especially against good teams. But now they're going to go to South Carolina. That's probably the worst team in the league. Road game, but you still got to win. A&M, they're leading the league. There are no easy games really in this league, but they've got to win the games that they should. And even if those are road games, you still have to win the games that you should, and then try and see if you can steal a couple against teams that are hope our peers are maybe even a little better.
Out of the St. Louis-based Missouri Valley Conference, you have the Belmont Bruins as the 12 seed taking on Alabama. Boy, that would be fun. That's a good Belmont team.
Yeah, it is. The Missouri Valley always has 1 or 2 teams that are capable of winning a tournament game. Whichever one of them gets in. They don't really get at-large bids much anymore. But Belmont, Murray, Bradley, even UIC is having a pretty good year. All have a chance, to maybe get in and win a game. But Belmont, at the moment, at least, looks like the class of the league, and that's a team we've seen in the tournament. Before they're not a complete stranger to the NCAA tournament.
And then finally, with the interest that I think is building in the Ohio Valley Conference around here because of not only SEMO being good recently, but SIUE and now Lindenwood getting some attention. You've got Tennessee Martin at the top of that.
Yeah, Tennessee Martin's having a really good year. Lindenwood is, they're still pretty new. They're only a few years into Division I and already, in a position where they have a chance to compete for a conference championship. And I think third place now in the Ohio Valley, which means, when you get to the conference tournament, you get a pretty favorable draw. And that should be fun. It's kind of cool to see a team that is still so new, really, to Division I have some early success.
We have a listener chiming in on YouTube, said, same old, P5 schools won't play you. They hold it against you to get in for tournament seeding, that it's all about money. What's the response to that, where you see a lot of SECs, a lot of Big Tens, a lot of Big 12s, and some of these smaller schools feel like they're getting shoved out?
Yeah, I can understand that. And the money does flow uphill, and the power conferences, and there are 5 of those in college basketball, which is the Big East is one as well. That's the money lands there, and they get the TV money, and having the money, especially in this era with NIL, allows you to put together a better roster. So, you're seeing a lot more transfers up from the mid-major level to the power conference level because the money's there. And before, maybe a player wouldn't go just for that, and maybe be a sixth man. But now you can get paid pretty well for that. And it's I think the way the money flows in the sport is going to make it harder. I think I only have 2 at-large teams, maybe 3 from outside the 5 major conferences in my bracket. Yeah, so that's I don't think that's a trend that's going away anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a frustration among Billiken fans too, and they,
sure.
They're like, what do we have to do? Well, it's hard to answer that question. SLU, you've got them in the 8-9 game with Wisconsin. If they can get through that, you've got them against Michigan up in Buffalo. And Michigan looks unbelievable, but I'll tell you what, I'm not sure anybody wants to see SLU in their side of the bracket. I mean, when they get it going, they can be rough.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they don't. And that's, and some people, you guys all know, of course, but, that the core of this group in St. Louis, started at Indiana State the year that they had a really big year. And so it's not a real surprise that it's happening at SLU as well. And they've got a good basketball tradition at St. Louis. That's always been a pretty good program. So I think that they're poised for success beyond this season.
Jerry, we can find you at palmbrackets.com. Again, that's palmbrackets.com. I see you've added some features like the team comparison tool and some other good stuff that you're trying out for basketball fans. So I'll direct people to palmbrackets.com to see what you got tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Jerry Palm. Great to visit with him. Always fun to have him on KMOX. Boy, he can break that thing down. Kenny, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to have Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, right here from the STL Sports Studio.
Soulard is going to the dogs. Make sure to bring your four-legged friend to the streets of Soulard for the 33rd annual Purina Pet Parade, the world's largest costume pet parade. It all starts at 12th and Allen, Sunday, February 8th at 1 p.m. And KMOX's own Dave Glover will be leading the pack as the parade's Grand Marshal. Sign up today to march in the parade with your dog. The event supports Open Door Animal Sanctuary. For more details, PurinaPetParade.com. Don't miss this annual St. Louis Mardi Gras tradition. Sponsored by Purina.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. The American dream is owning your own home, especially a brand new McKelvey home. This will be your last chance to take advantage of the tremendous savings of the 6 remaining market-ready homes or our luxurious Madison display at Summerlin and O'Fallon. Also get $10,000 free cash at close and special 5.0% fixed 30-year financing. Talk to Stephen Bonfani on how you can qualify for this great offer. Visit McKelveyHomes.com. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy, weight gain, or issues in the bedroom? Well, Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, but they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. So get in, get answers, and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
This is it. The last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, and the final chance to place your bets before the NFL season comes to an end. Super Bowl 60. And FanDuel is making sure you're in on it. If you're a new customer, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So whether you're backing the favorite, going with the underdog, you're building one last same-game parlay, this is the time to make it count. Because after the Super Bowl, the season is over and football is officially done. So last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. FanDuel.com/Missouri and get started now. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
And we welcome in the Cardinals president of baseball operations for his live visit. Always a treat to be joined by Chaim Bloom. Good morning, Chaim.
Good morning. How are you?
Things are great. It's good to visit with you. It's February 1st, which means it's time to get things going in Jupiter, Florida. 1 week from tomorrow, I understand that's the pitchers and catchers date for the World Baseball Classic pitchers and catchers. Isn't that right?
Correct. Yeah, we'll actually be getting all of our staff in that day as well, and starting with physicals and staff meetings and all that in advance of full squad on the 16th. So it is very exciting. February means baseball. Lord knows we could use a change in the weather. It might not be available exactly like we want where we are, but we can always go to Jupiter and get some of that.
I was visiting last night with the SLU baseball team. I was hosting their banquet. Their season starts in a matter of days. They haven't been able to practice outside around here. We get this single digits and teens around here. They want to get outside to some warm weather. I did the event with John Jay, and I just wanted to let you know what a job he did. I mean, he was amazing to these kids last night, telling them about his story at Miami, about preparing for the season, about trying to stay healthy for a season, all those things. I mean, what a resource you have in John Jay.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that. And it's exactly what I got to see last year, just the ability to connect across a wide variety of players, to relate to them. And, we can have the best programming in the world and the best plans on paper. And if you can't make it come to life for a player, it doesn't matter. And his ability to create those connections, to empathize with different people's experiences, to connect, and then to hold people accountable. That's also really important, too. He's not afraid to do that. And it comes from a place of love, and players know that, and that's why they respond.
Yeah, he learned that. He learned that from Tony and from the veterans that he was around. And one thing he said last night to the players I thought was interesting, where he said he was looking forward to some of these players that have been in the big leagues now for a few years, showing the younger players how it's done. Like almost like you're empowering them to be what they are, which is Major League Baseball veterans. Maybe in a way that helps boost their confidence. They know that they belong now. There's no more, there's quote unquote runway, but it's time.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was doing an interview the other day for something that hasn't run yet, but I actually got asked that question of what am I most looking forward to seeing this spring. And it was actually what you said is what I picked. There's these open lanes for guys to just come into better versions of themselves. And sometimes that opportunity, knowing you're being counted on to show the way to others, can bring the best out of you. There's an expression that we learn, X% of what we hear and X% of what we do, and we learn the most of what we teach to others. And there's something to be said with that for professionalism at all. It's a great opportunity for these guys, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do it, and also how they do it in a way that's authentic to them. it's not going to work unless you're being your true self and just, coming into that next step of who you are and who you can be in your career progression.
You look at a guy like J.J. Weatherholt. When I chatted with him, and I haven't had a lot of chances to do that, when I did that at the warm-up, boy, was I impressed with him. His mind, he's a smart guy. He knows the game. He seems very seasoned. But even for him, there will be an adjustment, won't there, as he steps into a great opportunity?
I hope not, because that would be great. But the reality is, it doesn't matter how talented you are. Almost every player goes through some period of adjustment. In the big leagues, when they do get there, sometimes it comes right away. Sometimes it comes a little deeper into your career. There's a very, very fortunate few who do not. But even most all-stars, and I think you could say a fair percentage of Hall of Famers, they struggle at some point. That's just how difficult the game is at the highest level. And, it's something we have to remind ourselves is, not to lower our standards while that's happening, but also to remind ourselves that that's part of the maturation process of a major league player.
I think fans are obviously and understandably interested in where he's going to land position-wise and if he will be able to start. I mean, there's a lot of time between now and opening day. We talked about Brendan Donovan last week. It didn't sound like you were in any rush to trade Brendan, but you were looking for some clarity. And now that we're a little bit closer to spring training, you still feel that way about Donnie?
Still feel exactly that way. I don't want this to be something that's a day-to-day issue hanging over us in the spring. So, if there is something that is put to us that makes sense for us to do, as difficult as that will be emotionally, I'd like for that to happen before camp opens. I don't believe in setting any official deadlines here. And obviously we never turn our phone off, but our mindset will be that, we'd like to get, that clarity for us, for Brendan, sooner rather than later. And then if nothing happens by the time camp opens, we're just going to be in a mindset of having our heads down and preparing for the season. Obviously looking in other ways to improve our roster, but not really thinking that that's going to be a factor at that time. Obviously there's still time between now and then, but that's our mindset. I just think if we want to accomplish what we do with spring training, which is such an important tone setter for the season, you'd like to have the group's focus in the right place.
And then going back to JJ, not that there's consternation among fans, really. I think most of them understand, but what is the pathway for JJ? Let's say that Donnie does stay. There's still an opportunity for Weatherholt to land on that opening day roster?
Well, we're certainly not closing that door. We haven't. Obviously, we've been very open about that. We also want to make sure that it's still something that is not just handed to him. And there's some things that he was challenged with over the course of the offseason that I'll be real excited to see how they play out in spring training. And I said this before, it's not about a stat line. It's about a lot of things in the day-to-day, whether they're not necessarily between the lines during game time that we will see and look at, and then some things, in terms of where he's at, especially those things that can help him agility-wise and defensively. Obviously, either way, this is a special talent that we want to make sure we do right by. There's a reason we prepared him to play multiple positions. I don't know that, at this point I would want to say it's going to be this or it's going to be that. We know, and he knows he's prepared for a lot of different things, and that's honestly something I'd want to go about with as many players as possible. You want to give them versatility. You want to give them options. It just makes it easier for them to impact your club. And then once they're there, it makes it easier for your manager and your staff to be able to do the right things in game to help you win those extra couple games. That can be the difference.
Chaim, are you still, is it fair to say you're still on the hunt for a right-handed bat?
Yes. Yeah, we are. And that will continue. Want to make sure obviously that we're not doing something that blocks lanes for folks here, but we definitely could use more from the right side. It's something we are looking for through various routes. Again, I don't know exactly which way that's going to go. There's always that balance, not just for us, but also for guys on the market who, might have opportunities in other places where it's, 600 plate appearances on a silver platter. We want to create a little competition. We want to bring guys in that we believe in and that we think can earn a big role, but also, make sure that they do understand that we got a lot of talent here that we also believe in and want to make sure have opportunities to distinguish themselves as the season goes on.
You recently announced your 27 non-roster invitees to spring training. That's always an exciting day to kind of go through that list and see some names. There are some intriguing names there. I mean, we've seen the prospects that are on the rise, the pitchers and position players, and then some that get another opportunity. Matt Koperniak. It feels like a year ago we were raving about the hitting ability of Matt Koperniak. How do you view what happened last year?
Yeah, it was a head scratcher as the year went on because there were certain things we were able to diagnose with it that we just could not get Matt to the point where he was able to bust through. I do think he finished stronger than he started, so that was encouraging. But, obviously, if we're going to pat ourselves on the back sometimes for, when guys do make big adjustments, that was one where we just were not able to help with that breakthrough. Still believe in the talent. I mean, I felt in 24, and then I think everybody felt watching him in camp in 25 that, where exactly he fits is TBD, but you look at the guy and you say, that guy looks like he's going to play in the big leagues and he's going to be able to help a big league club. So we know that talent's there. Excited to see what he does. We are fortunate that we get another crack at this, that he was able to get through waivers and still believe in that upside. It's an incredible story and would love to see him be able to take the next step in that by putting on a big league uniform.
Another name that jumps out is Zach Thompson. What is the latest with the lefty?
Yeah, it was a really difficult year for him on the injury front. Just a number of different things that popped up that honestly took some sort of different avenues to actually figure out what exactly was going on. He should be rolling in healthy and ready to go, but it was a tough 25. Obviously, he wasn't really able to accomplish anything in that year, and very frustrating for us and for him. So we'll see. Obviously, it's been a long layoff, but we know there's talent in there. We know there's a big leaguer in there. So excited to see what he shows us because it has been a while, and it was really a grind for him in 2025.
Pitchers and catchers hold their first practice at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium on Thursday, February 12th. 11 days away. The full squad workout Monday, February 16th, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. Here we go. It's time for the Grapefruit League to begin on the 21st. Will be our first broadcast on KMOX. And as always, we get to visit with the president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. I mean, I could sit here and go through every single player with you, but I don't have that kind of time. You are very much appreciated. Thank you for making this time for us, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
You bet. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting down there and seeing our players, our staff, and our great fans.
Thank you, Chaim. Appreciate it very much. Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations, with us on a weekly basis here on Sports on a Sunday morning. Well, when we come back, we will visit with Bernie Miklasz. He is a fixture on the show as well. 11:45 for him. It is 11:42 on KMOX.
Turning 50 doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter about your health. That's why we created Neovitin Men's 50 Plus Multivitamin. It's doctor formulated to support your energy, immune health, and overall vitality. Plus, it's made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Take control of your health with supplements you can trust. Look for Neovitin Men's 50 Plus at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, or online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, made for men who keep moving forward.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Big game, big screen, big energy at Ballpark Village, Sunday, February 8th. Enjoy the big game like you're in the end zone, featuring in-arena touchdown celebrations, fan cams, contest VIP packages, and more, hosted by RDJ and DJ Dex. Save up to $10 on tickets with code KMOX. Tickets and event details at STLBallparkVillage.com/events. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo January 30th through February 1st at St. Charles Convention Center. Buy big brands with Pro-Am Golf, test your skills, and win prizes while they last. VIP tickets at STLGolfExpo.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369. AREA to 369369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This Valentine's Day, create a space that feels warm and welcoming with help from Menards. Whether it's a small refresh or a big project, Menards has the tools and materials you need. Build something together and make your home a place you both love coming back to. Don't forget the sweets for your sweetheart. Get a 6-ounce bag of Russell Stover chocolate candies for $3.99 now through February 14th. Save big money and finish your projects together at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
It's about time pros had one partner for the whole job. Why juggle 10 different suppliers when one can do it all? At the Home Depot, you'll save with pricing built for pros. You'll stay on track with job site deliveries, schedule, next day, or same day. And you'll get every size, every finish, every job lot quantity you need. One partner for the entire job. That's how pros get more done. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined by Bernie Miklasz, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin dealer. Good morning, Bernie.
Good morning to you, Tom, and another outstanding sports on a Sunday morning. Sorry, I got distracted there.
It's all good. It's also very, very cold out, so I'm happy that everybody's cozying up and listening to the show and listening to Chaim. I know a lot of people tune in for Chaim, so
Sure.
Let's get right to that. Just your reaction to Chaim's visit with me. One thing that stood out was his open and honest and candid comments, I thought, about Weatherholt's situation.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what he's saying because frankly, I think he has to say that. In that, what I'm trying to say is like I have very little doubt that JJ Weatherholt will check all the boxes, and if he does, I think the Cardinals will be highly motivated to get him on the roster opening day because, of course, if he would win National League Rookie of the Year, which a lot of independent media believes he's got as good a chance as anybody in the National League. You know, the Cardinals would get draft pick bonus, draft pick compensation, or draft pick reward. So that'd be a real reason to put him in. But I understand what he's saying. You know, when he said you just don't give someone a job, and Chaim alluded to, there's some things they gave him to work on, they want to see, and then there's some things that. You look at some other areas. I think what he meant by that is, preparation, maturity, professionalism, all those things. But let me just throw this in real quick. I mean, Larry Day was on the podcast Stealing the Cards, my friend's podcast, and the farm director was asked about JJ Weatherholt, and based on what he said, I don't think Chaim Bloom or anyone has to worry about preparation, getting ready for the season, professionalism, all those things, because Larry Day just raves about how hard he works and how prepared he is already, and his ability to adjust, kind of understand what he needs to get better at and kind of adjust quickly. I think that's why I say he checks all the boxes. I mean, I unless it's an injury, I'd be stunned if he's not in the opening day lineup. I really would be.
And you folks will not believe how smart this kid is. I mean,
Right.
He's told me he studied finance at West Virginia, and then he went into this whole answer about the economics of baseball and what's about to happen with the CBA and where we are with all of that. I felt like he was breaking everything down. He is something else. He's a real student of the game. I look forward to it. It sounds like Donnie isn't going anywhere anytime soon, although they do want clarity. So if they get knocked over with an offer, they're going to deal him. And then he did confirm they're still on the hunt for a right-handed bat. They want one. Doesn't sound like they're going to stop until they get one.
Well, I know a guy that they had their eye on, Austin Hayes. There are about 6 or 7 teams that were dabbling with him, but he signed with the White Sox, and it was a 1-year deal for $6 million, which is nothing really in today's baseball economy. And I'm sure some Cardinals fans were probably, well, why didn't the Cardinals sign him? He needs a right-handed bat. That's because Austin Hayes, with his agent in the negotiations, made it very clear that he had decisions to make, but he wanted to go somewhere where he basically was guaranteed he would play every day. And I don't think that would have been the case in St. Louis.
Bernie, the St. Louis Billikens are the talk of the town right now. They ran Dayton off the floor. I wanted to wait until you came on, and I kind of bit my tongue on this, but now I just want to say, Friday night, they run him off the floor. He goes out to Humphreys. He's, buying drinks and having a good old time. And I see Jeff Goodman takes Matthew Rocchio's video and puts it out there and says, this is awesome. And then like 5 minutes later, it feels like he says, guess who's on my list for Providence?
There you go. Right.
Like, hey, you know what? Can you just let people enjoy this for 5 seconds before you start putting him on everybody's list?
No. In this day and age of the media culture, and the social media culture being what it is, no one can stand 5 minutes of peace or pleasure or joy or satisfaction, right? Because especially, it actually applies to the big schools too, like i.e. Lane Kiffin in college football. But especially if you're in a high mid-major, whatever we want to label the Atlantic 10, which I happen to like a lot. But the other thing that bothers me, to dovetail on your point, is you have a guy like Josh Schertz who is at SLU, right? And it's a great fit. He's happy. He's a great basketball coach. And so SLU's riding high, but the bad side about that is when you're riding high, and because you're in the Atlantic 10, you're going to have so-called power conference teams thinking that, and media thinking like, oh, they'll just go get Josh Schertz Atlantic 10 because he'll want to move up. In other words, it's almost like just sort of dismissing SLU it would be laughable if he stayed at SLU instead of taking a power conference job. I don't know. You know him a lot better than I do. He's a little different. I don't know that anything like that would be automatic. But yeah, people can't let it rest. Because we got to have the next thing, this guy's going to go here. This guy's going to go there. This guy's going to go up there. I mean, and 75% of the time it never happens. But I guess in a way it's great for SLU that their coach would be in demand, right?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Schertz would be the first to tell you that SLU's a great job. That's why he came here. It's a big city with no NBA team. You've got resources. You have players all over the region that you can go get. It has national appeal. Heck, Rick Majerus coached here, for crying out loud.
Sure.
I mean, this is a good program that when it rises up can be a killer, and they may well be a killer this year. I'll tell you what, if they get into this tournament, look out. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Final Four in Indy, but I saw Wichita State do it one year. I saw other teams make a run. I wouldn't want to see SLU on my side of the bracket.
Well, when you can shoot the ball the way they do, you look at them, and in terms of the Ken Palm ratings, I mean, SLU is number 2 in Division I in 3-point percentage, and they're also number 6 in 2-point percentage. And you say, well, if you don't know SLU, somebody in the outside. So, well, that's nice, but can they play defense? Yeah. I'm just laughing because these numbers are crazy. In terms of 3-point shooting, SLU's defending the 3-point shot. SLU's 4th best in the nation. Defending the 2-point shot, they're third best in the nation. So in all both of those, whether it be 2-point shooting, 3-point shooting, they're basically in the top 5 in offense and defense in that shooting percentage for both those spots on the floor. It's amazing. And the only thing that could bite them down the road, and you know me, man, I'm just have an analytical mind. I'm with you. I think they're a great team, and I love the way they play the game. They because they played because they push the pace. They turn it over more than you would want to see them turn it over, and they also don't force turnovers, perhaps as much as you'd like to see. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying I always look at this because I'm like, okay, this is what they're unbelievably good at. Okay, what could be a potential vulnerability? Because I'm like you, man. I'm looking ahead to what they can do in the tournament, and so I can't help but look at some markers to say, well, that's great. Oh, that's really good. And it's like, okay, well, they got to be careful about turnovers, So, and I got to tell you what, man. I was looking at this morning, and I'll go quick here. The last team that Coach Majerus actually coached, that 2011-2012 team where they beat Memphis in the first round. Then they lost a tough one against Michigan State. That turned out to be the last game Coach worked. And that team reminds me, the current Billikens team reminds me of that team a lot. Listen, no two teams are the same, but just the team culture, what culture does for you, the way Majerus built that roster, the way Schertz has built this roster. And I'm going to bring your guy, Curt Cignetti, in this. And people say, well, what? Well, the thing about Schertz and the thing about Majerus, they're not interested in where a guy is ranked. Like, we got a chance to get a 4-star. Well, I better go camp out at his house or whatever. No, they don't care about that. Majerus always was looking for fit. Like he could see a player, and I don't, whether it was just like a guy like Conklin who would set a great screen, or any guards that he had said, I'm always going to need a guy that I know can hit free throws and break the press. He's not. Majerus and Schertz are not interested at all in like where a guy is ranked in terms of recruiting. They look for fit, and that's what your guy Cignetti did. Like he always said, it's not potential I'm looking at, it's performance. And the lesson of a guy like Curt Cignetti, who brought all those James Madison players with a national championship with just a 2 or 3 or 4 like 4-star recruits. I may even be overestimating that. But Cignetti should be an example for college basketball coaches as well. Don't go chasing stars. Don't worry about a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Find guys who can ball out and guys who fit your system.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's like, if you're trying to build a sports car, you can get all these expensive parts you want, but if they don't fit together to build the machine, then it's not going to work. No, you're right. And Cignetti has said that. He said, I've never looked at a star. Okay, right. I look at players. I watch film. Bernie, appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for the visit. Have a great day.
All right, you too. And we'll talk Tuesday on the Gas House.
Yes, we will. Bernie Miklasz with us. That's sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
Guys, Kevin Wheeler for the FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX, my official sportsbook as well. And this is it, guys. It's the last call out for football